Greetings! In the previous video, we learned how to create questions in a pool. Now, we will look at how to build a test. To start, we're going to go back to our test surveys and pools area, and we will click on tests. This is a test dashboard. You can see that we already have 2 tests with a deployed status of no, which means that eLearning has not generated an access link for either. There are 2 options to create tests. The first option is to build a test using questions that you can manually enter or pull from the pools that are inside the course. The other option is to import a test that has been exported from another course in a Blackboard Ready format. Many times, publishers will provide Blackboard Ready tests, which you can import. Today, we'll look at how to build a test with pools that we created. Let's click on Build Test. We're now on the test information page. We're going to give a name to our test. Note that your students will not only see this name, but it also becomes a test link when you make the tests available to them. So make sure that the test name is easy to recognize. I'm going to call this Test 1 and add a description to help students further identify this test. Next, you can add instructions. These instructions appear to students after they click on the test link and before they begin the test. Once you've entered these fields, click Submit. Now we are in the test canvas where we can add questions. There are 3 ways to add questions within a test canvas. You can create the questions from scratch, as we saw in the previous video, and you can also reuse a question, which means reusing a question that already exists in your pools or in other tests within this course. The option is to upload questions. This would be a Blackboard Ready file that has been exported from another course. These are the 3 options to add questions to your test canvas. In today's demonstration, we will do a mix of questions from the pool and unique questions for this test, so you're aware of the tool options. So we start by clicking on Reuse Question. There are 3 ways to add a question from a pool, but to create a question set and random block allow you to randomly post questions for students to see. Find Question posts questions that all students see. For this test, we will use Question Set, Find Questions, and Add a Question. Let's start with Question Set. Unlike Random Block, that only allows you to select a pool or a type of question to give students on a test, Question Set allows you to choose the exact questions to randomly give students. This takes us to the pools area. As you can see, we have our Chapter 1 pool, Chapter 2 pool, and the sample test questions. These are our 3 pools. If we select all pools, eLearning pulls up the sum of questions from every pool in the pools area. If you want to look at specific questions within a certain pool, then you just simply select that pool to view. Also note on the left-hand side, there are some other ways to pull questions. For instance, you can choose questions from other tests that you've created within the course. Questions are also sorted by question types, categories, topics, level of difficulty, and keywords to further assist us as we add questions to our tests. So for this demonstration, I'm going to select questions from Chapter 1 and 2. When a list of questions is longer, be sure to select Show All to make sure that you can see and select all the questions that you need. From this pool, I'm going to select 5 multiple choice questions. And I can confirm that I have selected 5 questions because the selected questions keeps count. I will click Submit. And we're back in our test canvas. You can see a question set has been created. By default, eLearning will give one question at random for students to answer. To review or edit all these 5 questions, you can click on Questions and Set. You can also edit the question right here by clicking the drop-down next to the question title. To remove a question, simply select a question and click Remove Question. So I have 5 questions in this set, and I would like 3 questions to be displayed at random for every test attempt. When I change the number of questions to display to 3, I also need to select Submit to save. On the right-hand side, we have points per question. By default, the system has assigned 10 points per question, so I'm going to change this to 2 points and select Submit to save. If I scroll to the top, in the test information box, you can see the total number of questions so far and the total point value for those questions. Now I'm going to direct eLearning to give students 2 questions from the sample test pool. So I return to Reuse Questions and then Find Questions. Now I am back in the Pools area, so I select Sample Test Questions. Once I have selected my 2 questions, I'm going to submit. We are back in the test canvas, and the 2 questions I just selected have been added, and they will appear in every test attempt. Again, you can click on the drop-down next to the question title to edit the question. You can also delete the question by checking X box and select Delete. And you can adjust the point value to the right-hand side. In this case, I'm going to assign a point value of 1 to each new question. So if I scroll to the very top, my test contains a total of 7 questions, but only 3 from the question set and 2 individual questions will be seen by students. Furthermore, the test will have a total point value of 8. Last, I'm going to add a unique question to this test, which I'm going to create within the test canvas. I'm going to click on Create Question, and I'm going to click on Multiple Choice. I'm going to enter the question text. And I'm going to enter my answer choices. Select the correct answer choice and submit. We're back to the test canvas, and if I scroll to the bottom, the question I just created has been added. So now I'm going to give a point value of 2 for this question. Please note, it's always a good idea to differentiate questions by point value, so challenging questions are worth more, and easy questions are worth less. So now under Test Information, you can see that the test has 6 questions, and it is worth 10 points. You can also adjust the sequence of questions by dragging and dropping the questions in order. So I'm going to change what's question 6 by dragging it up to the very top So it becomes question 1. Now the question set will post questions 2, 3, and 4, with the 5 questions becoming question 5 and question 6. And this is the order which students will see the questions. First, they will see the multiple choice that we created inside of the test. Next, the system is going to present them with any 3 questions in our question set. And then finally, students will see the 2 other multiple choice questions that will always appear in every test. You can set further randomization under test options, which appears in our next video. So now that we have made all the adjustments on our test, we're going to click OK. And this takes us back to the test dashboard. To go back and edit a question in this test, click on the test drop-down button and click on Edit. This will take you back to the test canvas, but you can also create a copy of this test. You can also delete
and export.
You will notice that none of these tests have been deployed, which means that students aren't able to access them yet. So the next process for building a test requires us to deploy the test for students. For more information about creating tests, you can watch our next video, request training, or email us with elearning@utdallas.edu.